Welcome to 3 a.m. Stories, where the night reveals secrets, love, and betrayal. Experience tales of relationships, love, cheating, and the unknown. Subscribe and join us for a new story every night. Hi, I am Lisa, and this is a story that still brings a smile to my face every time I think of it. You see, life has a funny way of connecting us to people who are meant to be in our lives, and this story is about how fate brought together two families, mine and another, just as special as my own. Nova, my daughter, and I had always been a close-knit duo. She was my pride and joy, a bright young woman of 25, who had just started making waves in the corporate world. Nova was everything I could have ever hoped for, a compassionate, intelligent, and fiercely independent young woman. We lived in a beautiful neighborhood in one of the posh cities of America, where everything seemed just perfect. I was a lawyer, thriving in my career, and together, we enjoyed a life full of laughter, love, and mutual respect. Our days were filled with small joys, morning coffee on the balcony, late-night movies, and weekend shopping trips. Life was good, and we had settled into a comfortable rhythm that felt just right. But, as life often goes, it had a surprise waiting for us. One sunny afternoon, while Nova was at work and I was reviewing case files at home, I noticed a moving truck pull up next door. Our neighbors had recently moved out, and I wondered who would be taking their place. Little did I know that this new arrival would change our lives in the most unexpected and beautiful way. The next day, as Nova and I were about to leave for a dinner reservation, we noticed a woman and her daughter struggling with some boxes in their driveway. I suggested we go over and introduce ourselves, and Nova agreed. As we approached, the woman looked up and smiled warmly. She had an air of confidence about her, but her eyes held a kindness that was instantly disarming. "Hi, I'm Lisa, and this is my daughter, Nova," I said, extending my hand. The woman shook my hand and introduced herself. "I'm Rachel, and this is my daughter, Mila. We just moved in yesterday." Mila, who was about Nova's age, gave a shy smile and waved. There was an instant connection between us, as if we had known each other for years. We helped them with the boxes, and before we knew it, we were all laughing and chatting like old friends. Days turned into weeks, and what started as a casual introduction blossomed into a beautiful friendship. Nova and Mila hit it off right away. They had so much in common, both were ambitious, driven, and shared a love for art and music. They began spending more and more time together, often staying up late discussing their dreams and aspirations. Meanwhile, Rachel and I also found ourselves growing closer. We had both raised our daughters on our own, and there was an unspoken bond between us, a shared understanding of the challenges and triumphs of single motherhood. We began to share dinners, invite each other over for weekend brunches, and even arranged small house parties. The four of us became inseparable, forming a little family of our own. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, I invited Rachel and Mila over for dinner. Nova had prepared one of her special pasta dishes, and the house was filled with the comforting aroma of garlic and fresh herbs. As we sat down to eat, I looked around the table and felt an overwhelming sense of contentment. This was more than just a friendship, it was a bond that had become an integral part of our lives. But as life would have it, nothing remains perfect forever. The next chapter of our story would test the strength of our bond in ways we could never have imagined. After our families became close, the bond between Nova and Mila grew stronger with each passing day. They were almost inseparable, sharing everything from their hopes and dreams to their fears and insecurities. It was a joy to watch their friendship blossom. But then, something changed, subtly at first, but soon it became impossible to ignore. One afternoon, as Rachel and I sat in my living room sipping tea, I mentioned that Nova and Mila seemed different lately. They were spending even more time together, disappearing for hours without saying where they were going. There was a certain spark in their eyes when they talked about each other that I hadn't seen before. Rachel brushed it off, smiling warmly. "Our daughters are just the best of friends, Lisa. It's natural for them to be excited about spending time together. After all, they're practically sisters." I nodded, wanting to believe her. After all, Rachel was right, Nova and Mila were incredibly close. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more. Still, I chose to ignore it, not wanting to disrupt the harmony we had all found. A few days later, Rachel and I decided to go shopping. We thought it would be fun to have a girls' day out, so we invited Nova and Mila to join us. Surprisingly, they both declined. "We've got something planned," Nova said with a grin, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Mila nodded enthusiastically beside her. I shared a look with Rachel, a mix of curiosity and concern passing between us, but we didn't press the issue. We went shopping without them, enjoying our day out. It was a rainy evening when we returned home, bags in hand, laughing about the silly things we had seen at the mall. But our laughter faded the moment we walked into the house. As we entered the living room, we found Nova and Mila in an intimate embrace. It was more than just a hug, it was a tender, loving moment that spoke volumes. The shock hit me like a wave. My daughter, who had always identified as straight, was now involved in something I had never anticipated. Rachel was equally stunned, her face paling as she took in the scene. For a long moment, none of us spoke. Nova and Mila pulled apart, their faces flushed with a mix of fear and determination. They knew they had been caught, and there was no hiding it anymore. "Nova, Mila, what's going on?" I finally managed to ask, my voice trembling with the effort to stay calm. Nova looked at me, her eyes filled with both love and fear. "Mom, I'm sorry you had to find out this way. We didn't mean to hide it from you, but Mila and I, we love each other." Rachel and I exchanged glances, both of us struggling to process what we had just heard. Love. Between our daughters. It seemed impossible, and yet, the truth was right in front of us. "We didn't plan for this to happen," Mila said softly, looking at her mother. "But we found something special in each other, something we've never felt with anyone else. We're happy together." My heart ached as I listened to them. This wasn't something I had ever prepared for. All the hopes and dreams I had for Nova suddenly felt different, unfamiliar. But above all, there was one thing that stood out clearly: my daughter was in love, and that love made her happy. I don't know what to say," I admitted, my voice breaking. "This is so unexpected. We didn't want to hurt you," Nova said, tears welling up in her eyes. "But we didn't want to hide who we are, either. We've found peace and happiness with each other, and we hope you can accept that." There was a long silence as Rachel and I absorbed their words. I felt an overwhelming rush of emotions, confusion, fear, but also a deep, undeniable love for my daughter. I knew that whatever happened next, I had to be there for her. "Nova, Mila," I began, my voice trembling, "everyone deserves happiness, including both of you. Rachel and I need some time to talk this through, but I want you to know that we love you, no matter what." Rachel nodded in agreement, though I could see the same conflict in her eyes that I felt in my heart. We asked the girls to give us some time alone, and they left the room, holding hands as they went upstairs. Once they were gone, Rachel and I sat down, the reality of the situation sinking in. "What do we do, Lisa?" Rachel asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I sighed, running a hand through my hair. "I don't know, Rachel. This is all so new, so unexpected. But one thing I do know is that our daughters love each other, and that love has brought them happiness. How can we stand in the way of that?" Rachel nodded slowly, tears brimming in her eyes. "You're right. I've always wanted Mila to be happy, and it's clear that she's found that with Nova. But it's going to be a big change for all of us. We'll have to take it one step at a time," I said, feeling the weight of the situation pressing down on me. "But the most important thing is that we support them. They're going to need us now more than ever." The next morning, we called Nova and Mila down for a meeting. They sat across from us, holding hands, their expressions a mix of hope and fear. I could see how much they cared for each other, and it softened my heart. Nova, Mila, I began, taking a deep breath, we've thought a lot about what you told us last night. And while this is a big adjustment for us, we want you to know that we love you and we support you. Your happiness is what matters most to us. Rachel nodded, her voice steady as she spoke. We want you both to be happy, and if you found that happiness with each other, then we're behind you all the way. We'll figure this out together, as a family. Tears filled Nova's eyes as she leaned forward, embracing me tightly. Thank you, Mom, she whispered. Thank you for understanding. Mila hugged her mother as well, both of them visibly relieved. It was a moment of pure emotion, and as I held my daughter, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. This wasn't the future I had envisioned for Nova, but it was her future, and that was enough for me. Over the next few weeks, Rachel and I did our best to adjust to this new reality. It wasn't always easy, there were moments of doubt, confusion, and even fear of what others might think. But through it all, we reminded ourselves that our daughter's happiness was what mattered most. We continued to spend time together as a family, going on our usual outings and enjoying each other's company. Nova and Mila's relationship grew stronger, and it was clear to anyone who saw them that they were deeply in love. One evening, as we sat down for dinner, Nova surprised us all with an announcement. Mila and I have decided to move in together, she said, her eyes shining with excitement. Rachel and I exchanged glances, both of us taken aback by the sudden news. Are you sure you're ready for that? I asked, concerned about how quickly things were progressing. Nova nodded confidently. We've talked it over, and we both feel like it's the right step for us. We're committed to making this work, and we want to build a life together. Rachel smiled, though I could see the emotion in her eyes. If that's what you both want, then we support you. Just know that we're here for you, no matter what. As they moved into their own place, it became clear that Nova and Mila were truly happy together. They built a life filled with love, respect, and mutual support. Watching them thrive brought a deep sense of satisfaction to both Rachel and me. We had navigated the challenges of this new chapter, and in the process, we had become even closer as a family. But the journey didn't stop there. As time passed, Rachel and I became advocates for acceptance and love in all its forms. We shared our story with others, hoping to inspire them to embrace the unexpected with an open heart. We wanted to show that love knows no boundaries, and that true happiness comes from accepting people for who they are. In the end, this story is not just about Nova and Mila's relationship. It's about the power of love, the strength of family, and the importance of acceptance. Life doesn't always go the way we plan, but sometimes, the unexpected turns lead us to places we never could have imagined, places filled with love, joy, and the kind of happiness that only comes from being true to ourselves and to those we care about. And so, as I sit here, reflecting on all that has happened, I can't help but smile. Nova and Mila have taught me that love is love, no matter what form it takes. They've shown me the beauty of accepting life's surprises with an open heart and the importance of standing by those we love, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. This journey has brought us all closer together, and I wouldn't change a single moment of it. After all, it's the unexpected twists and turns that make life truly special. And in the end, it's love that guides us through it all.